Hey there, welcome to a brand new YouTube show here on our YouTube channel. We are Comic Book Geezers. This is...
I'm Wild Bill. How are you?
And I'm Pete. How's it going? We are two 50-something-year-old guys who are just...
Early 50s.
Who are into comics, specifically like, golden era stuff, 60s and 70s. That's where it's at. But we do like some other stuff as well. Marvel mostly, DC as well. Yep. And
superhero stuff.
Yep. So
horror section.
Yeah, especially horror. Especially
Marvel, DC. Batman, Superman, Flash for me with DC.
Yep, Batman, definitely.
Marvel for me was Hulk, the Invincible Iron Man, and Spider-Man.
Fantastic Four.
A few others, Fantastic Four, Captain Marvel. Stopped collecting in 93. I collected from like 78 to 93. Saw a lot of changes in the 80s that I didn't like and kind of lost touch. Plus I was in college, didn't have time to collect. And then when I got out of college, kept buying until 93. Stopped and then just started buying again last year in 2016. Had 4 boxes, 1,150 comics. And since I started buying again last year, I've picked up another 500 or 600. I got just over 1,700 comics now. So one of my newer acquisitions I'll show you real quick was, speaking of the Hulk, one of my favorites. This is my oldest Hulk now, 106. I collected, nice. I had a subscription, and I stopped at 280. But I was buying, this I found at a flea market last year. This ran me about maybe between $5 and $7, I forget. But this, in May, I just recently acquired. This is Hulk 125. I have 127.
Great cover. Look at that cover on that.
Great artwork. They don't make them like this anymore.
No, they don't.
And this is 15 center. So to give you an idea, this is kind of like what's up my alley. I had a subscription through my high school years to Hulk, Iron Man, and Spider-Man. My first 3 comics when I started collecting was Hulk, Iron Man, and Thor. But I didn't like Thor as much when I was a teenager because it was like reading Shakespeare. But great artwork. Thor, when I started buying comics again last year, I got big into Thor because I found some good deals on it, and the artwork is exceptional. But we'll touch base on that in a future video.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of what we're going to do with these videos is we're going to try and keep them themed from week to week. Today we're just going to kind of show you some recent stuff that we've gotten. But, we may do some like little discussions about certain artists.
Or topics, characters.
Yeah, we may do like we're probably going to do like a horror comic theme thing. We're probably going to do like maybe one week we'll just look at some vintage Spider-Man stuff or Hulk or Fantastic Four or whatever. We may pull out some graphic novels. But the cool thing is we're going to, from time to time, we're going to go on location and we're going to go visit comic shops in the area, flea markets, and maybe even some conventions and stuff. So
if you like comics, this is the place to be.
And like I said, we're 2 old geezers who...
Not an expert or anything. We just tell you what I like and I call them like I see them.
We also aren't like all the rage. A lot of these people, they gotta buy like the most expensive, highest grade stuff. It's like, you know what? It's nice to have really cool and clean copies, but you know what? Sometimes you buy stuff because you want to have that issue, and maybe it's not perfect. But
it's like me. I bought this last week for $1, but it's a Moon Knight issue from the 3rd run, I believe. Mark Spector. This is a great looking cover. I only had issue 25, but for $1, this is like 1989 or 1990. Which was still kind of acceptable comics.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, just before that's cool. And look at that next one. I love that cover on the next one.
These are 2. All 3 of these were consecutive, 31 through 33. This is 32 and 33. Well, Hobgoblin. But I saw, I never knew the Moon Knight was fighting Hobgoblin. So when I saw it, I was like, what the hell? For $1, give me that. I'm right there.
Can't beat it. I went on a little Ghost Rider binge this past week, so I had some holes like in the old Ghost Rider series. So I've been looking for this one for a while, and I paid a good amount of money for it. It's not in the greatest condition, but
Tilt that back.
There you go.
Right there.
Number 1.
Push forward. Zoom in.
Ghost
Ghost Rider number 1.
Look at that shit, number 1. And not only did I get that,
this just came in the mail.
This just arrived literally as we were recording here. Number 2.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. And then...
Acey-doocy. That's what it is.
And then, as you'll find out in future episodes of the show, I love Mike Plug, okay? I've been a huge fan of his art. So, of course, he drew a lot of those early Ghost Riders, the early Ghost Rider appearance in Marvel Spotlight. I'm still looking for number 5, the first ever appearance, but here's number 6. I just got this the other day. Mike Plug artwork there.
Mike Plug. I just got
Look
this
at
the
that.
other day last week. We talked about Mike Plug, how his art is really good.
The
Werewolf
best.
by Night. Very talented, man.
He's got a few of them there.
Let's bring these out. That was issue number 3.
Yep.
This I got at a flea market last year. This is number 7. It's another great action cover.
Yep.
And I picked this up in May, but this isn't Mike Plug.
Nope.
But this is also a nice cover, staying with the horror theme.
So here,
This one,
we just saw Marvel Spotlight.
this is where Werewolf by Night first appeared in Marvel Spotlight, and from the popularity of this, he got his own title, which was Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, I think number 2 was the first issue of Werewolf by Night in Marvel Spotlight.
So that's it for the Wolfman, or Werewolf.
Werewolf
So
by
we'll move
Night.
over to another popular monster, the vampire Dracula, Tomb of Dracula. And this is issue number 6. The 20 center from Marvel Comics. This is issue number 7. And then we'll bring this, I'll get my fingers out of the way so you can see that. That's number 7. And then this is number 8. And these comics, what's different about these, if you'll notice, there's no barcode on the front of the cover. These are actually physically bigger than the books that were made in the late 70s. They got a little bit smaller in size in terms of paper. They're physically smaller. So the 20-cent books and the 15-cent books are actually physically bigger. And the barcode came around in 1976.
So stay on the Tomb of
Dracula.
Dracula.
Number 1.
Numero uno.
Awesome.
Just got this bad boy. Look at that shit, huh?
And then if you're going to move from Dracula and the Wolfman, the next guy is Frankenstein.
So who published this?
This is Classics Illustrated,
okay,
which is
gotcha.
a popular comic title that antique dealers look for. Classics Illustrated used to always do comics of famous novels and stories, like Swiss Family Robinson, H.G. Wells' Time Machine, things of that nature. So when I saw this, the guy was asking $3. I was like, how could I go wrong? This was printed in 1969, and there's no advertisements inside it. When I went to read it, it's about 42 pages, 42 or 44 pages, I forget. But it took me an hour to read it. There's no ads. Usually a Marvel comic with 32 pages, you can zip through it in about 15, 20 minutes. But this was a good hour. It was a good read. It followed the Mary Shelley story. But sticking with Frankenstein, Marvel Comics version is the Monster of Frankenstein. And again, this follows Mary Shelley's version. And I just got this 2 months ago, and this ran me almost about $12.50, I guess. I got a good deal on it.
That's a really good deal.
I think they were asking like $20, but it was last minute sale. So speaking of
those Marvel Frankensteins are just great, really great. And again, Mike Plug, by the way, artist.
Oh yes. Here's another number 1, and this is actually written by Stan Lee. This is actually a reprint from stories in the '60s, but this is called Chamber of Darkness. This is number 1 issue, but because it's number 1, I like to have number 1s. Speaking of recent issues, this is number 3, but I don't have any Jack the Ripper comics. Do you? This is the first one I've ever seen. Now I got one. Then I'll be looking for issue 1 and 2. That's the thing about being a collector. Like, you get the bug. You see something you like, and you're like, ooh, I got to have this. That's what happened with me. I saw this. The cover, it's all right. You know, it could be better, but it's got a good action scene. It's got a good action cover. It's an independent comic. It's a sister company that's related to Malibu Comics, and I've heard of them. I have a couple of issues from Malibu. So when I saw this, and for $1, if you're a comic collector, that's what, you know what I'm talking about.
Here's a good number 1. I've been pushing him to buy this for ages because it's not easy to find. I actually got this about a year ago, and then he saw it recently and picked it up.
And what's interesting about this character is Werewolf by Night, and the Tigra, this woman here, there was a 4-part story in the 70s written by, actually artworks by Jim Starlin, but it was called The Cat. And I have the 4th issue of it. And the cat is this character. She turns into this character. So there's a transformation. So this is kind of key. And it's a number 1 issue. So I had to jump on it.
And that was the one and only giant-sized creatures. They never did another one.
We'll stay in the horror theme. We're going to stay in horror. This one I just picked up when I started buying last year. Vault of Evil. I only had 1 issue of this originally, and I think they went somewhere into the 30s, so I'm not exactly how. This was a bi-monthly. It only came out once every 2 months. This was a great cover. I like it, regarding the devil, and thought that was a good theme. This one was the original in my series. This was a hand-me-down from a friend of mine. But this is a great vampire story, great cover. And then the lowest I have in this series, I have 5 altogether, but I wanted to put 3 in this video to keep it short. But I bought this last year for $1. This is issue number 6, and it kind of parallels the story of the gremlin from the Twilight Zone, or William Shatner on the plane. But this story takes place in a skyscraper, but it's basically the same concept. There's a guy inside a building who sees this monster outside, but nobody else sees it, just this one dude. Supernatural thrillers. I only had 1 issue of this in my collection. I just recently picked up like 3 or 4 more. Out of 18. The Living Mummy dominates the series, but the first issue is some kind of monster, some kind of swamp monster. The second issue is The Invisible Man. Mm-hmm. The third issue is about some giant worm, I think. And then the fourth issue is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And then the issue number 6 was the only one I had in the series, which is my favorite looking one. This is the Headless Horseman, and it's the only comic I've ever seen on the theme of the Headless Horseman. But I've seen this go for as much as $100 on eBay, but that one's going to stay in my bay, not eBay, okay? And then there's this one. This is the oldest. I just picked this up last year for maybe $5. This is The Living Mummy number 5. Great cover. The colors pop. Yep. It's still in great shape. Usually comics that have yellow will fade over time, especially if in sunlight. And in my opinion, that's the best Living Mummy issue right there. Thank you. This is Strange Tales. This is the Golem. Again, kind of monstrous to me. Super science fiction. I'm there. I bought this at a flea market for like $2. Not a big hit. Marvel expected a lot more from the Golem series, and it just never really took off. Uncanny Tales number 1. Basically reprints from stories in the 60s, but this is like the door beyond. If you go through this door, you can't come back, and that's what's happening to this dude. And the old guy tricked him into going through that door, and he can't come back. Good story. Flipping over to recent acquisitions regarding heroes. This is a gem for me recently. This is the only one I ever had in my collection. 18 issues originally from the Silver Surfer. This is issue number 15. I'd like to get the issue just before this, which is number 14, where he fights Spider-Man. Yep. But eventually I'd like to get all 18, but that's going to be not an easy task. No, They're hard to find in great shape. Yeah, they are. I only did 18 of them. I picked this up recently, issue number 1 of Warlock. I have issues 3 through 8. I need number 2, and I picked up number 10 recently. I think they only did 18 issues of Warlock. But again, I first saw Warlock in The Incredible Hulk. Good character. Mm-hmm. Going off target, recent acquisitions. Hack and Slash. Kazar is kind of, we got 9, this is 10 and 11. He's kind of like Conan, I would say, but without, anything he can get his hands on, and the cat is like his friend. So he's kind of like a cross between Conan and Tarzan, I would say. And Bill's got a nice little run of them. They didn't show them all today, but yeah, I picked up like 8 of them recently. I have 9 altogether. I have every issue 8 through 16. Speaking of Hack and Slash, this is Conan. I just recently bought this one for about $10. This is issue 29. But I've got a good run of Conan. I only had 1 in my collection, and now I have about like 35 of them. I'm kind of like the past year. I've really bought a lot of Conans. Yep. Great. We could easily do a video at some point. We should do a whole Conan show. Actually, if we want to make it a little bit longer, try and keep it in 10 minutes. Conan we could do, and also stay in the Hack and Slash theme, like Red Sonja. I have some independents like Maelstrom and the Warriors and Ninja Elite, and we could also do a few others besides Kazar, like Kull, the Destroyer, John Carter, Warlord of Mars. So we'll think of something. But anyway, that's it for me on that side. We'll flip over back to Pete with what he got recently. I'll plow through some recent stuff I got here. So lately I've been filling some holes and going after some Holy Grail stuff. So and this one is going to show you I have in my Hulk collection as well. So been looking for this one for a while. Number 142, the first appearance of Doc Samson. I will help you, Hulk. That's what you think, Doc. And here we have the first appearance of the Wendigo. Yes, number 162. Well. This is in great shape. Paid a pretty penny for this, but I think it was worth it. I just got this one a couple weeks ago. This now completes. Yep, comic gold right here. This completes my Luke Cage run 1 through 50. Got them all. Wow.
Got them all.
Nice.
Let's see what else. Got another the second appearance of Kazar, Daredevil.
Kazar again.
Kazar number 12.
Iron Man.
Iron Man number 6. This is my earliest Iron Man.
Speaking of Iron Man, I have issues 2, 4 through 30. And then I have a few in the 30s.
He's got a great Iron Man collection.
My collection goes to 168 because I had a subscription when I was in high school. I had 4 years of Iron Man. But I need issue 56 and 73. And then I need some issues in the 40s. I need 47. But I have almost every issue. I don't have number 1, but I've read it. My neighbor had it. But I've read every issue from 1 to 168 with the exception of the ones I need between the 30s and 40s. I need about 16 or 17 issues, and I would have them all.
I'm working on it. I'm not quite there yet. What I am doing really good on, and I got a lot of good ones recently. I didn't bring them all to show you today, but just to give you an idea, I've been going after a lot of the real vintage Spider-Man stuff.
Pre-100 we're talking.
Yeah, and I've gotten a lot of really good ones. So I didn't bring them all, but I just want to show you a couple good ones.
You can always go back to the others.
Number 23.
Look at that.
All right. Look at this one. Number 47, Kraven the Hunter.
First one of Kraven.
And this is in such great shape. Okay, this is classic
Dr.
cover.
Octopus.
Spidey joins Doc Ock. Great shape. This one looks brand new. Night of the Prowler.
Then they started in the 70s reprinting these issues from the 60s called them Marvel Tales. Hold that back up. I have the same issue in Marvel Tales, and it's the exact same cover, but across the top says Marvel Tales featuring Spider-Man. But they reprint the story basically, and because Spider-Man was such a popular character in the 70s, he came into existence in 1962. So they were just riding the wave with the sales and putting more books out on them, and they were selling. And I have some of them.
This one again. I paid a good amount of money for this, but it's not a high grade book because you got a little writing on the cover. Someone put the date on there, but otherwise it's in fantastic shape. And then these next few, I've been searching for these forever. So, and you probably for most Spider-Man fans, this is the holy fucking grail, folks, right? Here we got starts 119. Okay,
and I love the Hulk, and I have that issue by the way. And this one I have as well.
The next one.
I have every issue from 112 through 300, including this one, but I need 122. And I don't have it.
Bought these as a set.
There it is. That's the Holy Grail I need.
Yep.
I need that one, but that can go for like $250 by itself.
Yeah.
You can get a bad copy, poor shape for like $150. Some people sell it as cheap as $75, but you don't know how bad it is until you see it.
Yeah. I bought them as a set, and then, I don't have it here to show you, but, the one that battling Luke Cage right after this, and then I think
123.
Man-Wolf is the one after
124
that.
first Man-Wolf.
Yeah.
I need 135, which is the second Punisher. 129 is the first Punisher. I have that.
You do.
I do have it.
You lucky bastard.
In fact, I got it from him back in our college days. This guy was selling comics.
For beer money.
He was all bummed out one day. I'm like, what's up, dude? He's like, I just sold some comics. I'm like, I didn't even know you were into comics. He's like, yeah, I'm like, what are you selling comics for? He's like, I needed some beer money. I'm like, dude, I'll throw you $20 for some beer money. So he gave me I bought a stack like 10 Spider-Mans from him for $20.
And I bet you bought this as well. Because
that's possible.
I had this one.
It's possible I did buy this from him. Yeah, I have one.
Sucks when you do stupid things like that.
I had 129 in the stack, and it was in really bad shape. It's on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it a 3, maybe a 2.5. It's ripped, it's torn. So I brought it to a comic shop in '93 to ask the guy to appraise it for me. He's like, if this was in my store, I would ask $70 for it. I'm like, what? It's in bad shape. It's in poor shape. He's like, that's why. He goes, if it was in good shape, I'd ask $300 for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was in '93. That was 24 years ago.
Yep.
That book can go either the one I have that's in poor shape could probably go for $300 or $400 because of the popularity of the Punisher.
Yep.
If it wasn't a popular character, it wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what it is with the comics. It's either hit or miss. Now, where do you see these gems?
So we're going to round this out real quick, but I got a lot of really good old Captain Americas recently, so I'm just going to show you them real quick. So here's numero uno, 100. Okay, fantastic cover. I mean, it's like one of my favorite all-time covers. Just look at that bad boy. Really good condition. Then we got the Sleeper. I don't have 101. 101's the origin issue. That's what I'm looking. Then we got this Red Skull.
Red Skull.
Right.
Classic villain.
And then we got more Red Skull and Company. And then Batroc. right? And we also got the Swordsman on here, right? And then 107.
Another good cover.
Yep. And then the Trapster, okay, you know, if you're a Fantastic Four fan, you know all about the Trapster. And then
this is an awesome cover.
This, you know,
it's the best
my
Captain
man,
America cover.
Steranko, okay?
Oh, yes.
Look at that.
That's
That
an
is
awesome
just
cover.
a beauty. Number
I have the
110.
reprint of that, which was called Marvel Super Action, I think.
I think you're right, sir.
With reprints of Captain America.
More Steranko.
My cover price was 35 cents.
Look at that cover. Love Steranko.
That's awesome, yeah.
And then 112, and I got a lot more, but I just figured I'd show you some of these early ones. And then we're going to end up the Steranko run here with number 113.
Another classic cover.
Another classic cover. I love that they are.
My oldest Captain America is
Nick Fury
136 with Captain America, the Falcon, and Spider-Man.
Yep.
So I think this pretty much wraps up our first
Wraps
video.
up first video today. We went a little long, but we wanted to kind of tell you who we are, what we're into, and all that stuff. And like I said, we're going to, upcoming shows, we're going to really focus in on certain things and have a lot of fun with it. And
thank you for joining us and hanging in there and watching this video.
if there's stuff you want to see us talk about, if we got in our collections, we'll certainly do so. So just leave us some comments on here on the YouTube page, and you know, we're going to come here as often as we can and just do some fun shit with comics. You know, because we're two old geezers who love comics.
Comics where it's at.
Yeah, you know.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Take care. We'll see you next time.
See you, man.
Bye bye.